Howdy. Long time no see. It has been way too long since I last uploaded, so I apologize for that. I've been working a lot, but man, have I missed you guys. I really miss talking to myself into a microphone, looking at a screen of Lego characters. It was really therapeutic. But anyway, enough rambling. In today's video, I'm gonna be revisiting an old topic of mine, which was a main menu. Now, I did a video about that like way earlier in my channel, and it was kind of buns, so I'm gonna redo it. Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, I'm gonna redo it and make it a lot better because, I don't know, I feel like a good game has a good menu. Also, I have some horror things planned later for down the line, so I did not forget about that. And thank you to all the people that harassed me saying, get it done. I did ask for it, and I appreciate it. And seeing a bunch of angry people be like, get it done now, really motivated me. Well, enough rambling, enough yapping. Let's get right into today's video. Now, before I even get into this tutorial, I do want to let you know that there is a plugin, but it's 100% free, and it honestly makes working with UI way easier. UI is not bad to work with, but when it comes to scaling it and making sure it doesn't slide around on the screen, it can be a pain in the butt. So I have this plugin called Auto Scale Lite, which will be in the description, so just take a moment to go down there and install that. Restart your studio if you need to. I don't know if they still make you do that, but yeah, once you get that up here, you're good to go. So before I do anything, I'm gonna add a dude for scale. Now for the menu, I want it to focus on something. And in my case, I want it like the camera to come out of the woods and then the UI pops up. So all I have to do is build the forest scene. As you can see, I'm looking for my trees, but I'm not gonna make you sit through all that. So I'm just gonna do an awesome time lapse. Now, I will not lie, I spent way longer building this than I thought I would, and it's really simple. Also, I don't know what's going on with the output, it's going crazy, so we're gonna get rid of that. But yeah, I have this simple little thing. This is where my title or my home screen is gonna take place, because I want a fancy home screen. You don't have to do all this, you could just, steal all the code, steal it and learn it and imprint it in your brain, or you could build a forest like a Chad. Who doesn't want an awesome forest? But yeah, I've built this. Now I want the camera to come from like in here and come out like this, and then I'll have some stuff pop up on the screen. So let's get right into that. I'm just gonna clean up all this stuff. So I'm gonna pull these trees in the folder that I made. I'm gonna name it trees, and yeah, that's basically all. I don't know why there's these things in the workspace, but I'm gonna get rid of those. All right, I'm now gonna make a folder. I'm gonna name it cameras. Then I'm gonna insert a part. Inside this part, I'm gonna do a surface light. Then I'm gonna turn the shadows off. I'm gonna turn the range up, and I'm gonna turn the angle all the way down, so it's 0. And this is basically my makeshift jank way of making cameras. So if I point this surface light part at an object, you will see a beam. Now it's really dim, so I'm gonna make it super bright. But yeah, this beam shows what that camera is looking at. Now, there's probably a way better way to do this, but honestly, this is how I've always been doing it. If I can go, I wish I could put the range even higher, but it won't let me. But yeah, so I can see where this camera is facing. So I'm just gonna put it flat like this. And this is where I want the camera to be when the player zooms out. And I want the camera to come from about here, but I want to face the ground a little bit, so I'll just do that. Then I'm gonna name this one end pose, and I'm gonna name this one start pose. Then I'm gonna put anchor both of these. I'm gonna delete that surface light from both of these. I'm gonna turn off can collide and can query. Then I'm gonna put these in a folder. I'll put these in the camera folder that I've already made. Then I'm just gonna turn the transparency to these to 1. And now we have our cameras. So inside of Starter GUI, I'm just going to insert a script and name it menu handler. Then inside that script, I'm going to add a few variables. So I'm going to do local player equals game.player local player. Then I'm gonna do local char equals player dot character. And above that, I'm gonna do local TS for tween service equals game get service. Blech. Tween service. Tween service is used for animating things, like smoothly moving something from one point to another, if you didn't know what that was. But I'll show you how to use it. And then underneath all of this, I'm just gonna add local camera or current camera equals game.workspace.current camera. And I don't know why I put this down there, so I'm put it back up there. Basically, this is just the player's camera at any point in time, so you can edit it. This is how I'm gonna move it. So I'm just gonna do current camera.camera type equals enum.camera type scriptable. And right here, I could just, if I wanted to, I could set the camera type C-frame to be start position. So I could do current camera.C-frame equals game.workspace.cameras start start position C-frame. So if I press play, it will snap my camera down like this. So I can't actually move my screen. So where is that other cloud? I'm confused. Oh yeah, there is a second cloud. That's why this is going crazy. Go away output. But yeah, so I've successfully changed it. So I'm just gonna put the cameras into like its own little variable so I can add a weight to it. So I'm gonna do local cameras equals game.workspace wait for child cameras. Then I'm gonna set the current camera C-frame to be cameras dot start pose dot C-frame. Then I'm gonna do task out wait like 2 ts create current camera clean info dot new. I'm gonna do 4.2 seconds, and I'm gonna do C-frame equals cameras dot end pose dot C-frame. Then I'm just gonna press play. So we should get a little bit of a smooth animation when we press play of our camera panning outwards. And that's not that bad. So let's make it a little bit better. So instead of our starter GUI, I'm gonna insert a screen GUI. I'm gonna name it menu assets. And I'm gonna add a frame. Then I'm just gonna set the anchor point to be 0.5 by 0.5. I'm gonna change background color 3 to be black. Then I'm gonna set position to 0.5 by 0.5. Now comes the easiest part. Just set scale to be 1, 0, 1, 0. And that will take up your whole screen. And just so you don't have like a weird clear bar at the top, you can go into this starter GUI and check ignore GUI inset. Then I'm just gonna name this frame BF for black frame. And I'm gonna make the transparency on it 1. Then in our script here, I'm gonna do local menu assets equals script parent dot menu assets. Then I'm gonna do menu assets dot bf dot transparency equals 1. Then over here, I'm gonna create another tween. ts create menu assets dot bf clean info dot new 1. And I'm gonna do background transparency equals 1. I'm gonna play that. And just because I noticed an error here, I'm gonna change this to be background transparency instead of transparency, just so I don't get any bugs. But yeah, now when I press play, there should be a black screen. I lied, you have to put this to 0. But yeah, now you get your black screen, and then the game will fade in like this, which actually doesn't look half bad. Now remember, you want to have some creativity when it comes to this, so make sure you try to tween some other assets like color correction or add a blur by going here, doing blur, and you can tween things like the size just to make it like have cool effects. Like you can make the screen be really blurry, and then when it fades in, it's no longer blurry. Just stuff like that. But I'm not going to do that for the sake of keeping this short. So now let's add some UI for buttons and make it so you can actually load into your game. Now, since you're currently in the loading title screen thingy, I don't want the player to be able to move. So right under here, I'm just going to do char dot humanoid.walk speed equals 0. I'm gonna copy that code and do jump height, and now the player can no longer move. So best way to test this, Y is start pose, not a. And there goes the infamous error. I don't know if you caught that. I might have cut too soon, but basically the game loaded before these assets inside of this folder loaded. So I'm just gonna add a wait for child right here, cameras, wait for child, start pose, .c frame. That should fix the problem. And if we press play, I spam WASD and jump, you won't be able to hear my player moving. If I'm spamming it, if I go to the server, you'll see I'm right here. But if I spam on the client, I'm still right there. So I'm unable to move, which is good. So let's build some UI. Inside of the menu assets, I'm going to insert a text button. And I'm just going to kind of scale this how I want it to be. It's very bland, so I'm going to turn text scaled on. I'm going to add corners, which is going to make it round. Then there's a bunch of other things you can change in the button. I like to make my buttons dark and make the text light. I think it looks good that way. Whoops, that is making the button white again. I'm not. Why can't I think? What am I trying to do? All right, there we go. So this is very simple looking. Let's think of a way to make it look better. Now, when your button looks like trash like mine does, there's only one clear fix, and it's to change the font to be Comic Sans. Here we go. This is as close as I'm getting. I don't. Is there a Comic Sans in here? It just don't look that good, but it doesn't look that bad. Reminds me of an old game I was working on with these like crazy dudes. They like kicked me from the project because I actually wanted the game to look good. But yeah, story for another time. So I got my button. I'm just gonna make the text be play. Now I'll put my button over here, and then like, I don't know, you can add a second button if you wanted to for like options or credits. Actually, I think best thing to do is log, change log. Is that how you spell change log? Is there a space there? Okay, yeah, change log does not have a space. So now we just have to fix the buttons. So I'm gonna highlight both of them. I'm gonna name this one to be play button, and this is just gonna be like random button. I don't know what this is gonna be yet, but it's definitely a second button. Then inside of here, I already did it, but you want to change the anchor point to be 0.5 by 0.5. I'm gonna pretend to do it again because it's easier to follow that way. Then I'm gonna set the position to 0.5 by 0.5. And now, just so that when the screen scales, the button scales with it, I'm gonna add a constraint using that fancy plugin. Then I'm gonna open up unit conversion, and for play button, do scale for position and size. And I'm gonna do position and size for the other button as well. And you'll notice when you scale the screen now, these buttons scale with it, rather than getting pushed off the screen. So I'm just gonna place these however I want now. Something like this. And yeah, you'll see as the screen size changes. So if I go to test and I just go through various devices, there's a way to do it. I forgot how to like quickly switch. You'll notice like no matter what device I'm on, what the aspect ratio is, those will be perfectly sized to match. No matter how big the screen is, it always looks good. So that's what that plugin does. You could technically do it without the plugin, but the plugin makes it stupid easy and it's free, so just get it. Don't make me beat you up, just get the plugin. But yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing, except I'm gonna add a text label, and this is gonna be our game title. So I'm gonna name it literally just a forest. Now, you're probably wondering how I came up with such a legendary name. And to that, I'm going to oh my god. To that, I say, I'm going to gatekeep that knowledge. You don't get to know how I came up with that. But I'm going to turn on text scaled. I'm going to set the text the background transparency to 1. And then I'm just gonna play around with the text. I like this. This looks good. And I'm gonna name this from text label to game title. And I'm gonna do the same thing I did. I'm gonna set anchor point 0.5 by 0.5. I'm gonna do position to 0.5 by 0.5. And then I am gonna use that little fancy plugin to change scale for position and size. And since we already have a constraint, we don't have to add another one. Everything will now scale with our screen. So just to flex on you guys how smooth this is. No matter what screen you go to, no matter what the size is, this game will always look smacking. Whatever smacking means, it will always look it. So yeah, plugin is awesome. And I promise, I'm not sponsored. I don't know who made that plugin, but they did a good job. It worked good. Very worked good, yes. Now we just have to make the buttons work. So I'm gonna go to menu assets. I'm gonna just disable that for now. I don't want the player to spawn directly next to this like thingy, but at the same time, for the sake of how Roblox renders things, you need to have the player near assets, otherwise the game won't load them. So I can't just put the spawn point way over there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a part and name it after menu POS. I'm gonna anchor it. I'm gonna put it up a little bit, turn off can collide, can query. And I'll make it neon just so it sticks out a ton. I'll put this over here. And then I'm gonna add a convenient brick wall so that you cannot see the menu. Because like normally you're not gonna be able to see that area. That area is gonna be hidden from the player. So just pretend that this brick wall has nothing behind it. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, let's make the brick wall. So when the player presses play, it'll bring them here. So they won't be over here. So let's make it do that. Inside of our menu handler, I'm just gonna get the buttons. So I'm gonna add local play button equals menu assets dot. Yeah, play button. Except I'm gonna do wait for child. Play button. Then I'm gonna do script.parent wait for child menu assets. Now you might be wondering why I'm adding wait for childs for so many things. And honestly, at this point I don't even know anymore. I have wait for child-itis and it's bad. But man, does it suck when you follow a tutorial and it doesn't work because there was a inconspicuous lack of wait for childs in places where you didn't think they need to be, but I guess they needed to be there. So I'm just gonna put that there, you know. I didn't see this, you know. I don't know who put this there, but it's there. Anyway, I'm gonna do the same thing for the credit button. Local credit, I'm just gonna do button 2 equals menu assets wait for child random button. And down here, so by default, all these buttons and stuff are visible. So I'm just gonna make it so background transparency 1 and text transparency 1. So set all your text transparencies and background transparencies to 1. Then right here, just so I don't have to like manually tweak all of the transparency values, I'm just gonna add a dash.weight 2.7 for IV in menu assets do. And let's do menu assets get descendants. Actually, we could do get children. Get descendants will get literally everything, so it'll pull these UI corners. Get children will only get the first thing, so like it will pull all of this, but it won't go deeper and find the UI corners. Get descendants is a bit more intensive on your computer because it's searching harder. Get children, if you could use it, try to use that instead. Really doesn't matter though. Get children just works better in this case. So I just basically sifted through our menu assets and I'm gonna isolate these 3 things so I can change their transparency. So if V is a button, text button, then v.background transparency equals 0, except I want to tween that, so I'm gonna do ts create B, clean info.new, 0.7, background transparency equals 0, play. Then underneath here, I'm gonna do the same thing and do text transparency equals 0 as well. Then I'm just gonna copy this same code and do if V is a text label, except I'm just gonna remove this part, and voila. When we press play, we'll get our UI to all just fade in, and we barely had to do any programming. And bam. It ain't the best, but man is it far from the worst. Now, if you want to be cheesy, you can add some cinematic bars. So I'm just gonna do that real quick. You can put a folder, you can put a screen GUI here, and I'm just gonna name this bars. You can just steal the black frame, paste it here, change the transparency to 0, and then just scale it up like this. Then duplicate it with Control D and put it at the bottom of your screen. And it makes it look all cinematic. So if we press play, it should look a little bit better now. And okay, do not forget to ignore GUI inset. Now if we go back and press play, it looks all cinematic and stuff. Now for the sake of you not wanting cinematic bars when you're editing your game, you can just turn this off, and then you can add a variable for the bars. So local bars equals script.parent wait for child bars. Then you can do bars dot enabled equals true. So when we press play, it will load our stuff. We'll have our bars. It looks cinematic, and your text appears. And just to double check, yeah, it still scales perfectly. You don't have to worry about that. So let's make these buttons do something, and then we're done. No more dumb tutorial. So really all we have to do is make the player be teleported and remove all the UI assets, and also give them the ability to move again. I'm just going to do play button. I'm going to copy that and do play button dot mouse button one click connect function. And right here, I'm going to do menu assets dot enabled equals false, bars dot enabled equals false, which you could keep that to true if you want the cinematic look still, but that's just for the menu, so I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna copy these two things, and I know that walk speed is 16. I think jump height is 7.5, but I'm gonna double check. No, it's 7.2. All right. Then I'm gonna do star.humanoid root part C frame equals game.workspace dot after menu pose dot C frame. And it really should be as simple as that. So if I just press the play button, it should just get rid of the menu and put us on the other side of that giant inconspicuous wall. Now it technically did do that. I forgot to fix the camera. So just right here, I'm going to go and copy this code right here, which sets it to scriptable. And right here, I'm going to set it to custom. So if we test it, it will actually work this time. Perfect. Now you don't have to have this part enabled. I just have the transparency set so I can find it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And now we just have to make that other button work. I'm gonna do this really simply because I don't think it needs a lot. But inside the menu assets, I'm just gonna add another frame. And inside this frame, I'm gonna add a, whoops, why are you tweaking? Stop tweaking. And inside that frame, stop, I'm gonna add a text label. And I'm just gonna name this credit label. I'm not even gonna spell it properly because I'm really not gonna need to alter that. But in the text, I can just be like, this was made by a moron. And then I could add another button. I'll do another text button. I'll make the background red. Make the text X. And I'll do text scaled because text scaled is awesome. Now, I'm not going to do all the cool UI stuff like fix it for this one. This is literally just to prove that that button works. So I'm going to name this close button. And yeah, I'm not even going to fix this. I'm going to name this frame credit frame. I'm going to set the visibility to false. And then right here, if you press button 2, the button 2 dot mouse button 1 click connect function. I'm gonna do menu assets enable. Wait, no, I can't do that. I'll just do button 2 dot enabled, or yeah, dot visible equals false. Play button dot visible equals false. Then I'm gonna do menu assets dot credit frame dot visible equals true. And right here, I could just do local close button equals menu assets dot credit frame close button. Then I can put this to the top like every other button, except I'm not going to give it a wait for child because this button's not special. Then I'll do close button dot mouse button 1 click connect function. And if you close it, I want to set all this to be opposite. So true, true, false. And all I have to do is get a title. So menu assets dot title. Where are you? A game title dot visible equals false. Then I'm just gonna set that to true right here. So now that button will work. It's very simple, but it's just to prove that you can add as many buttons as you want and just follow the rules, making crappy UI. And you can make any cool buttons you want. I know I just said that and I worded it slightly differently the second time, but yeah, this is just to prove a point. So the UI works. That's pretty cool. Now you could very easily add sounds and stuff to this. I'm not gonna, because I'm just teaching how to make the menu UI and make it work. So this is technically a complete tutorial. It's buns, but it's not as buns as the last one, trust me. So if you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to forget to forget. Don't forget to brush your teeth. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you to my Patreon members. Really, don't forget to forget. Bye-bye. Oh, and this project will be in the description of the video. You could steal it so you don't have to copy my programming if you don't want to. It's all yours. No credit needed. Bye-bye.